All right, as we go into this weekend's cold snap, I want to help give you guys some information to best prepare. Some things I'd recommend you have is a way to shut off water. You can do it with pliers. You can do it with this tool. This tool, especially if you want to make it a lot easier on yourself, this tool you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. It just has a basic little niche in it, and you just stick it in there and twist. And I'll show you more on how to do that. But if you're concerned about how hard it is to do it, this tool makes it a lot easier. 10, 15 bucks at Home Depot, Lowe's. You can do it just fine with pliers. It just takes a little more work to get in there. Other things to have on hand: some flashlights, a couple candles, some water. I recommend you having some water on hand because if your pipes freeze, you won't have water. It's a good idea to fill up a bathtub, and so you can use a bathtub and a pitcher then to flush your toilets. But I like to have just some gallon jugs of water to be able to drink and heat water for beverages or whatever. And then this is a spigot cover, and I'll show you in a minute how to use it. Again, you can pick up these at Lowe's, Home Depot, hardware stores for a few bucks a piece. The first stage, I would say, I'm going to say there's probably 3 or 4 stages of kind of freeze preparation. The first stage, I just do at the beginning of winter, and I put these spigot covers on all of my exterior spigots, and I'll show you how to put them on in a second. But they just keep water or coldness from being able to penetrate into the house very easily through that spigot. Since the spigot is usually metal, it passes the warmth through that exterior wall, and it oftentimes starts the freezing process on those pipes, and then once it starts freezing, it spreads. And so that's first, just kind of as it goes into the cold season, put on the spigot cover. Probably everybody's got this figured out, but just in case, I just take this part of the loop. Let's see if I can even do this one-handed. And put it over the spigot, like that. And then I pull this zip tie tight. Squeeze the stopper. I pull this little squeeze button tight, and it's on there, fairly sealed against the house so that cold can't get to that spigot. The second stage, I would say, is just kind of getting stuff ready. Setting out your flashlights, you're getting some extra food, getting some water, just preparing, hey, this weekend's gonna be a cold weekend, and so I need to get some new things set aside. If you have a stove, get some extra wood, whatever you have. Most people aren't gonna have a wood stove. Keep in mind, a wood stove is designed to heat, and so it doesn't just suck all the air to your house and heat with. Whereas a fireplace kind of just heats the area around it and makes the rest of the house usually colder, because as it puts air up the chimney, it sucks in more air from outside and it makes the other. But if you have to, if you're cold and you don't have any other heat, a fireplace, you can gather around it, but it'll make other more distant areas of your house colder, or a stove that is designed to heat. And so getting those things ready, I'd say, is stage 2. Stage 3 is, all right, it is going to be below 30 tonight. I'm going to drip the faucets and open up the cupboards and drip all the water fixtures that drip. All right, stage 2 of protecting your house from winter weather is to drip the faucets. So when the weather, for me, dips below 30, when we get into the 20s, even the upper 20s, overnight, I will open the cupboards. See how bad it is below my sink. And so this lets cold air that's trapped under there out, and I'll get the sink adjusted so that both, it doesn't have to drip much, just a little bit more of a stream, so that both sides are dripping. What the dripping does is it releases pressure. Water doesn't freeze when it's moving very easily, and it can't build up pressure. When it's pressurized and it can't move, it's going to freeze more easily. And so all of the fixtures in the house that drip, like I don't do this to the toilet because the toilet doesn't drip very well, but the sink does. And so the sink and the bathtubs, I'm gonna drip. If this wall is on the exterior of the house, it's more likely to freeze. So especially open the cabinet doors and drip the faucets on exterior walls as best as you can. And get them all dripping. When it gets really cold, like this coming weekend, when we're in the 6, 7, 8, 9 degrees, single digits cold, you want to try to keep an eye on these things. And so if you've got this thing dripping and it stops dripping, right, you think, oh, why did it stop dripping? If you turn it on and nothing comes out, then somewhere in the lines of this fixture, the water has frozen. It could be that just this fixture is frozen. In this house, these fixtures are most likely to freeze first. But it does tell me, hey, if this fixture's no water comes out when I turn it on, this fixture has frozen pipes somewhere leading to it. It could be that other fixtures are still dripping. If I get to the point where my fixtures are freezing up, that's when I move to step 3 of the winterizing process. And I move to shut off the water to the house, and I try to evacuate all the water lines so that there's no further water in the system to freeze and expand and break pipes. That's when it gets most dangerous, is when the water freezes and expands. So just to remind you, this is part 2. It's open up your cupboards so you get warm air in there, and drip your faucets, both sides, the cold and the hot, for the night until it gets back above 30 degrees. Stage 4 is, all right, my pipes I think are freezing, and I want to decrease the damage that can be done because I want to remove the water, as much water from the lines as I can. And so that's when stage 4, it's cold out, it's been freezing for a while, and your faucets have stopped dripping, you believe they're frozen, some of them anyways. And so you go to the curb and you shut off the water valve. So this is what the water meter box generally looks like. Yours might be grown over with grass. You might have to look around for it. I would definitely recommend that you go out and you locate where your water meter is at. Sometimes it's in a plastic box. Most of them look like a rectangle metal cover like this that you'll have to pop open, and then there's a valve inside. Once you open the cover, the meter is usually kind of a dirty mess inside there. It looks kind of like this. The little cover will probably be closed so you won't see it, but you can flip it open and see the meter turning. At the very end of it, you can see where the arrow is to rotate. That is the valve, and you'll turn it basically perpendicular to the line, so that those holes are for locking it. That's what the city would put a lock on it. Those holes are lined up. When those holes are lined up, the meter is then shut off, and no more water will then flow to your house. And then you open one of the spigots on the lowest exit for water in your house, and you let any remaining water run out of your system. Once there's no water in the system, there's no freeze damage, it can't get any worse at that point. And if there's already a break formed somewhere, when it thaws out, if there's no water in the system, it's just going to release a little bit of water and you'll be able to see it. Whereas if you're still connected to the water main, when it thaws out, it's just going to flood out into your house and do a lot more damage. And so that 4th stage of shutting off the water and draining your system is a more extreme weather when it's really been cold for a while and you think your pipes are freezing. But once you do that, there's no more drinking water coming out of your tap. Your toilets don't flush anymore. And that's why you want to have a bathtub with water in it so that you can put it in your toilet and flush the toilet.